Good afternoon. This is the In My Opinion show created and developed by Ronald Berry Robertson in 1996 with the intent of exploring both sides of any issue and every issue. It has been the best, well balanced TV show enabling its audience to develop their own opinions about issues. I am Henry Hatter, your co host. Today, today's guest is no stranger to Flint, Michigan. He was born and educated through the K through 12 experience in Flint, Michigan. As a young man in search of the truth, he adopted Islam, joined the Air Force for 20 years, and was honorably discharged after serving with the 1% of the population willing to serve their country when it's most needed. His name is Amir Hassan, an endorsee by the President of the United States, Donald Trump. Amir, welcome again
It's always
into
a
the
pleasure
In
to
My
be here.
Opinion show.
Thank you, sir.
President Trump is doing the United States a service that may save the country from the intrusion of illegal immigrants and architects who would change the character of this country. And we appreciate you being here as a member of a segment of the country that was most
But,
poorly represented. Please tell us a little bit. Who is Amir Hassan?
well, a couple points of correction. I appreciate the intro, but I am a proud Navy veteran. I did 8 years in the Navy, and I am a Christian. I was born in the church, raised in the church. I did adopt Islam for some period of time, but I have rededicated myself to Christ as of April, Resurrection Sunday, which happened to be my daughter's birthday as well. So Amir Hassan, born and raised in Flint, Navy veteran, retired federal agent, uh, father of two daughters, proud son, cousin, brother, just a resident of Flint, Michigan, born and raised. Um, Somebody who's an American that loves this country for what it has always been, which has been a nation of laws, a nation of ideals, a nation of pride and hope, a place where you can come, you can invest in the country and watch the ability to grow into something that nobody else in your family has ever been. We see it from all angles. So many different groups and uh, people from different backgrounds come here and they create a dream and a lifestyle that they wouldn't be able to do anywhere else. So at this point in my life, I just want to protect that. I want to embrace that. I want to further that for the next generations of Americans, my daughter's generations, and um, and then protect the ones that led us here. I stand on the shoulders of giants like yourself, like my parents, and when we're talking about the elders and the previous generations, we must make sure we don't throw them to the side and we take care of them and all the money they've invested in this country that is used properly and not be going to fraudulent operations and being wasted uh, and being manipulated. We have to make sure we take care of them. So that's why I got in the fight.
Okay, Amir,
Mm.
who do I look like today?
Hey, the
I just
strongest
was
man in Flint, you
uh,
know. Hey, who do you look like today? You look like
well,
Mr. Hatter, a nationally recognized member of the Republican
look
Party.
how I'm dressed.
Yes, sir. You look like the
Oh,
president.
okay.
Yes,
He
sir.
wears a black suit,
Yeah,
a red tie,
yeah,
and a mega hat.
yeah. There you go.
And I hope you like that because if you don't, it's too bad.
Hey,
I'm
tell him.
gonna,
No, no,
I'm
no, no,
gonna
no.
be it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Give the audience a 3 minute monologue on how you have a strategy, what you will do with that strategy, how you plan to win
Yeah.
the position of a district representative in the Congress.
Well, it's as simple as this, man. You know, one of my favorite podcasters, he always wears a shirt that says, "Let's make politics local again." And so, what I realized in campaigning for the last year is a lot of people don't know national policies or actually get into the weeds of the policies. How does it affect me? How does it affect my pockets? What is it going to change? Are we going to keep our country going in the right direction? So my goal and my plan has always been localized national politics and geopolitical issues, making people understand here how it affects them and how we can fight back. A lot of people growing up here, or a lot of people just in total, are disenfranchised or they don't understand politics or feel like it doesn't matter whatever they do, the government is going to do whatever they want anyway, so their vote doesn't matter. So I've been getting out and trying to educate of how it does matter and why that there is a buy-in, and the buy-in is um, it's twofold. For one, buying is developing a family, right? Getting
Yeah.
a job. That's the buying into the American dream because then you can participate. And once you start participating, that's when all the perks start coming back to you. And that's when this stuff start to make sense. I always say, people ask me, when did I get so conservative and these things? When I started paying taxes. They started taxing me. I saw the different tax brackets. And if you're a young man like me, ambitious, and you chase success and you want things, and then you start to get them, and you realize how you're impacted differently. Uh, that's what makes you like, well, I'm giving all these taxes, but why are you sending my taxes to pay the people to come to Chicago and displace people that's already there and give them cell phones and money and food vouchers? We have Americans going, or we have Americans in Michigan without clean water, or in Jackson, Mississippi. We have American issues that we should be fixing and using our taxes for. And you're taking 30% of my taxes. I don't like it.
Well, thank you for that. But what we're going to do is dwell on things that people want to talk about,
Mhm,
what they're talking about, what you hear about,
mhm.
what you read about, and the issues. I'm glad that you're stepping up to them, talking about the issues that people are really concerned about water, about safety, about jobs, about healthcare, about education, stuff like that. And we're going to touch upon all of those if we have the time. So, do you believe the naysayers and doubters owe you a debt of gratitude after serving in the United States Navy for 8 years? I apologize for that must have been another person that I interviewed that had been in 20 years.
Oh yeah,
But
no. Hey, let's salute. My best friends are retiring this year, doing 20 years. I have many friends in the military still that doing it's going to do the full bid. So salute to all those veterans, and thank you to everybody who served. That's a big haul. But no, nobody owes me an apology. See, the thing is, because of the military and law enforcement, and coming up here, everybody's entitled to their opinion. We're not soft. I'm not sensitive, and I don't take it personal. If you're not doing anything productive, if you're not putting yourself out there, you'll never have haters. But once you do, you're always going to have haters, and you should. That means you're doing something right, and that means you're standing on principle. Because if everybody likes you, it's an old quote that says, "A friend to all is a friend to none." I stand on what I believe, and I want people to disagree with me because everybody's not right. Some people have to be wrong, and when these people get around and they're trying to fudge and finesse their words so everybody agrees, I don't agree with that. I'm proud to be who I am. I'm proud to be a conservative. I'm proud to be a mid Michigander. I'm proud to be endorsed by President Trump. I'm proud to be a Republican. I'm proud of it all, and I truly believe the things I speak on, the issues we have, and the way to fix them. I believe in them 100%. So I welcome all the haters and the doubters.
compare and contrast yourself with Mandami, for example,
Yeah,
with a non-Eurocentric name.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, it doesn't factor in. Um, I truly believe the responses I've had this year and over the last year, people get to know you, get to know me. We're a nation of names. I've explained that before. We have many different names in this nation. It's no such thing as an American name. You look at all our names, who's made us great, who's contributed to this American dream. It's not about the American name. It's not about American pride. That's what it's about. So you see Amir Hassan, you put veteran next to it. You put federal officer next to it. You put father next to it. You put Christian next to it. That's my name.
But everybody is not, don't believe in America. There are people that hate America.
Yeah.
And many of the immigrants that are in this country illegally are here to destroy it.
Well,
So, and people do derive some bias toward that.
I look at it differently. I don't blame the immigrants that came here, the illegal immigrants. They're trying to come to a better place. It's the left. It's the people. It's the Americans that are attracting them and giving them asylums and trying to bring them to America to vote in our elections so they can get their vote and manipulate them because they don't have to live around them.
A good response. That's a good
Well,
response.
when we're looking at the Democratic Party and my opponent, and they're talking about defunding the police and save ID where you can't get a license, you can't vote, and they're saying it's racist or Jim Crow, but none of them lived through Jim Crow. It wasn't affected by Jim Crow. They were on the other side of those train tracks. I'm offended by that. And all of us have IDs. Just because you're black is crazy. It's asinine to say it's tougher to get a license because you're black. No, it's not. All of us have IDs. All of us have birth certificates. All of us can get um, passports if they're eligible. And so I don't blame the illegal immigrants. I would want to come here too if I was from a different country. I see everything that America has going on, even if it's not political. We look at our sports teams. You look at our beautiful women in this country, our clothing, our culture. Why wouldn't you want to come? So we should really place the blame at the foot of the people who's responsible for these people who are crossing the border illegally, and that's firmly on the left. And I've been at the border. I've seen it. It's firmly on the left.
Well, then, but we have boundaries. We have limits to resources. We have a rising population. We cannot take everybody's people.
At all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have to
yeah,
put
no,
boundaries around it. We have to put limits on it.
absolutely. Well, let's talk about immigration as a whole
Okay,
for one.
go ahead.
We as a country have issues that we need to fix for Americans first, American citizens first. We must fix our foundation and get back to that. And once we fix the foundation, then we can revisit the immigration system. And I've heard some people speak on this, and it needs to be promoted more. Have people immigrate to this country that can help your country. So let's look at the industries, and I'll always speak about Michigan. We have an agriculture industry that we could use immigrant help with, or migrant help, or seasonal work with. So if we're looking at immigrants, we should tier them. Okay, what industry are they going to help us with? What are they going to help our GDP grow? How are they going to contribute to society? Do they truly believe in the American ideals? And we go through these tiers and we go through this protocol to allow them in. If it's not making us better, it's making us worse. This idea that we must let everybody in because we're a nation of immigrants and we were built by immigrant labor. No, we are a nation of people that are American. We are a sovereign nation put together by ideals, and there's a way in. If you want to come in, follow protocol, contribute to society. You don't come here and try to tear it down. And for most of these people that's complaining about America, man, they didn't grow up in terrible circumstances. A lot of them grew out there in the suburbs where they had the option whether or not they wanted to eat Lunchables or steak and caviar. They didn't grow up in the worst of the worst conditions, and they're blaming America. Go travel, go take a trip. You see how beautiful America is. Go down Mexico and see how they don't want immigrants coming to their country. Go overseas to Europe and see what they call you as an American. Then come back here and have some perspective and have a little bit more gratitude.
Well, that's a great response. The best I've heard about why we should stand up and be Americans, and about the people who come in who enable the country to be better than what it is, like the Mexicans who come in and work all summer and work in hot conditions.
Mhm.
They're one of the best segments of the workforce.
Very
I've
hardworking
heard that
people.
from many, many contractors.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've had contractors come to my home, put my roof on.
Very
They
hardworking people.
Yes,
Very
they are
hardworking.
hardworking.
Family oriented, faithful, all of it. All of it.
But people who come in without skills, how do you respond to that?
Well,
How many of those people can we take in? And this is not being racist, but it's being
it's not.
pragmatic, and it's
Yeah.
being prudent. It is being facing reality. We can only support so many people.
Yeah.
Like nature, your lawn,
Mhm.
it's everywhere growing at a maximum all the time. You learn that from biology. Well, our country is reaching that maximum capacity where it cannot afford to feed its people.
No, our jobs. And to address something you said is not racist. There's no such thing. How could it be when we're not just talking about one race of people coming to immigrate to America? If you talk to anybody who's been in law enforcement and see these legal immigrants coming across the border, is coming to Mexico, you have Middle Easterners, you have Asians. So it's not one group of people we're speaking of when we speak of illegal immigration or immigrants, period. The point is, immigrants, legal immigrants, our kids in this country, they should all be getting trained to do something to help the country.
That's how the Japanese run the economy.
Yeah.
Every child in high school as a job after school. I was in Beijing. I mean, I was in Tokyo
Mhm.
and other parts of Japan on behalf of Michigan State University. I saw that with my own eyes. The kids wear uniforms,
Mhm.
and each one learned to function in the Japanese economy.
No, it's you. I mean, it gets complex, right? Because when we're looking at FDR and the New Deal, which helped America get past the tough time after the Great Depression, it also set us on this path and the slippery slope, which we've been sliding down at a rapid rate of dependence on the government to the point where people have lost the understanding that we don't have a country if we don't uh, invest in it and we don't invest in ourselves and in learning something to help the country. So people feel like America's too big to fail. We're only one generation from everything losing. And this is the generation. This cycle that we have coming up now is a clear contrast. You have self identified, this is not me disparaging them, self identified socialists and communists getting elected across this country, really backed by big money from the left. If you look at California, New York, Virginia area, versus really what you see is an American first candidates across the country, which I consider myself. Um, that's the biggest contrast we've had politically in a very long time, where the lines are drawn. And then you look at the people caught in the middle in places like this, an industrial city like this that is traditionally blue collar, traditionally Democrat, traditionally union. But things are changing because the Democratic Party is now led by the largest voices, the AOCs, the Mamdanis, are socialists and communists. So the Democratic Party of the 90s is no longer that. If you listen to the speeches from the presidents and the elected officials from Democrats from the early 90s, they sound a lot like what American first candidates are speaking on: strong borders, lower taxes, more jobs, family, lower crime, proper policing. Those were talking points then, not too long ago.
Now,
That's where we
how
are.
do you compare and contrast the Democrats at that time with respect to the issues that you just mentioned?
Well, a lot of those issues, I agree with them on. A lot of those issues, I agree with them on because I think even back in the day, the Democrats, they still had a love for America. And the biggest thing I see now is the Republicans or conservatives love America and say, okay, we can improve in these areas to make it better. Democrats hate America and they want to tear it down and make it something different. But the problem is they're trying to, well, the first problem is they hate America. Second problem is they hate all the institutions and foundations we're based on. That's why they're trying to change and change words and understandings from boys being boys, girls being girls. But then the third part of that is they're going towards socialism and communism and they don't have an example of it working anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And then you have people from Cuba who have that experience and they tell them, go down to Florida, go down to Hialeah and speak to them. They'll tell you, like, man, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Go down to the South American countries right now that's going through the uprisings, and they'll tell you it does not work.
Well, Amir, you have got to get not only stable Republicans to support you for Congress,
Yeah,
you've got to get dissident Democrats. Not all Democrats are bad.
not at all,
Yeah.
not at all. Well,
So,
but
and I
they're
know what you're
conservative
saying.
Democrats,
Yeah, yeah.
and
We got
they're
to
gonna,
make that distinction because
yeah.
you can't win without those dissident Democrats and
Man,
independents.
listen, I want my family to vote for me. My
Yeah.
family has always been Democrat, so
Yeah.
I live here, So it's
Yeah.
not, and I don't even think people identify. They might have voted. I don't like calling people just straight up Democrat or straight up Republican. You might have been voting in that way, but this cycle, vote for the person that represents your interests. Vote for the person that you see that understands it. Vote for the person who's truly speaking on things that and is promoting things that he applies to his own life.
And you got to go out there and get the labor unions, the
Yeah,
people out
listen, I'm
there
pro
who,
worker. I'm
well,
100% pro worker.
yeah.
So I want to speak to the labor unions, non labor unions. I speak to all of them because I'm 100% pro worker. 100% pro worker. That's it. Full stop. Uh, Regardless of where if you pay dues or not, I'm behind you because at the end of the day, we all need to contribute. And the more jobs we have, the more choices we have as American, as workers, the better we are off. And in Flint, we are not in a position to turn down work just because they're union or non union. We're not in that position. Let the workers make the decision. That's where I'm at with that. And so I have had conversations with both sides and I look forward to it. But you understand, I am a product of the UAW. I am a UAW baby. Everybody in my family worked for General Motors, and all of them on the line were on in the UAW. So I have
Everybody out there that's listening to this conversation today
yeah.
are voters. And
Mhm,
they're listening to what you're saying
mhm,
and see if you're resonating with what they believe in. And all people are not single interest
mhm,
voters. There are a lot of them that are, but not everybody. Not every Democrat is a single interest. So they'll be considering voting for you. If you if you read the comments on what people wrote after the president endorsed you, you would be impressed
mhm,
because so many of them were positive. And and that's what you wanted. That's what you wanted to change the culture of the people who were listening to the show and to you.
no, absolutely. That's well, speak about that endorsement. The story I haven't really shared. Well, I shared it online, but uh, my father passed when I was young. So as a man, you always look for signs for loved ones and ancestors and all that. And the president endorsed me on my father's birthday.
Oh,
And so
fantastic.
when you look at it as how to feel and everything, um, that was I got endorsed by the president, but I was my father endorsed that, from heaven. He endorsed me doing and going down this path. And that's to everybody who might be struggling. You might be struggling with feelings and changing and evolving as you're becoming an adult, maturing more, or just changing life experiences. Um, just know that just follow your heart, follow your heart. And I don't lead with hate. I don't lead with prejudice, bias, anything. When we're talking about these issues, I can tell you the issues predominantly from the left have not worked for us here. And then also, I actually have the vision that can help us, and in this country and the direction of our country. Um, National pride, patriotism has to increase. We have to understand what we have. I've been blessed to travel the world and live around the world. That's helped form my opinion. When I say there's nowhere like America, it's for multiple reasons. But truly is you search for home and you realize you've always been there. You search for things in your life and you realize you've always had the capacity and capability. You already have what you're looking for. You just have to embrace it. It's not the grass is never greener. It's only where you fertilize it. And we fertilize our own here in Michigan, here in the 8th district, here in America. We'll have it. It's not about tearing it down. It's about embracing it and improving upon it.
How did you make the transformation from Islam
Mhm.
back to Christianity? Tell us about that.
Well, it was a long
What
road,
happened?
and the faith journey. We all take journeys, and uh, I don't think people are honest about their life journeys and the mistakes. I've made plenty of missteps and mistakes in my personal life, my professional career, and
As we all
yeah,
have.
yeah, and when you're going through things and you're losing things, you have to understand. I lost my father, I lost my grandfather, I lost my best friend in college, all at by 20 years old. Uh, and so I was in the military, I was away from the family. And so you're looking for answers. And at that time, I was open to exploring anything. When you're hurting, you'll do anything to fix the pain. And so uh, I went down a path and I started studying Islam and I started studying the discipline and praying and eating and fasting and these things. Um, but that same journey always led me back to uh, Christ. If you listen to my previous interviews or anytime I spoke about it, I always showed reverence to Jesus. I always did. I've always had a praying mother. I've always had a praying family. My entire family has always been Christian, and they've always prayed for my return. And so I had people at my disposal. And so my uncle, who's a pastor at Bride of Christ Ministries, prayed with me. Prayed with me. He was before when I was just thinking about Islam. He was talking to me and praying with me. After he was talking to me and praying with me, and he just got to a point where it was on my heart. And so over the last year, I had been studying, been in Bible study over at Kingdom of Heaven Ministries with the Honorable Pastor Lonnie Brown, and we just started having one-on-one sessions. And that's we speak about resonating and actually finding home. And that's what I said earlier. When you're looking for something, sometimes you realize you've always had it. And there was a point in my life growing up in the church where I just I didn't see Christ. I saw Christians, but I didn't see Christ. And I came back as a grown man. with a fresh, renewed perspective, understanding where it fits in. And the old saying is, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And it turns out he never left my side. He just left me on the journey uh, to see how it makes sense to me later on. So that's my story.
Well, that's a great story. And I hope that people understand and listen to that story because if you never went through an experience like Francis Bacon of the 16th and 17th century, a philosopher, European, who said, The truth is never always evident. You must search for it. You must continue to search for it as long as we live as human beings. Correct?
Mhm.
Now I'm going to move on. There was on a talk show, there was a talk show host who said the problem with conservative Black Americans. I saw that and I couldn't believe what he was talking about. The point he wanted to make, and he made this point in a way that all Black Americans are the same. They have no distinct thoughts of their own.
Mm.
They all think the very same thing. Well, the way he was judging us, he doesn't know that many of the people who join the Republican Party do it on their own um, the transformation. They make the transformation, declare themselves a
Mhm.
Republican without going through the process. So they come over and they make these statements, and sometimes they appear to have conservative ideology, but they don't. They don't. You don't change your colors like that. There's an orthodox way of becoming a Republican. One is that you have to be born a Republican. Like I've never belonged to any other party but Republican, but I support good Democrats always, and Democrats have always supported me. And when I ran for the Clio Board of Education, all Democrats.
Mm.
Clio used to be the home of skinheads, but I went in and won.
That's why they were Democrat.
Well, and to tell you the truth, the people in Clio were wonderful people,
Sure.
and they helped to create me who I am, and they named the boardroom after me. My daughter is now the the White House senior policy advisor on education for HBCUs.
Mhm.
She has an office in a building in the Capitol, and she has in the White House, and she has an office in the Department of Education. So this shows you how Republicans rise from an ideology that's Republican.
Mhm.
And you can tell a Republican because they're always committed to the same thing. They're
No,
not opportunists.
that's when I was knocking doors, and I was getting petitions signed. So I'm walking through neighborhoods, and you have maps of who's who. You always can point out the conservative house because that's the one that got the American flag in the front. The ones that have other flags in the front, usually we're not friendly, or we're not, especially we're not conservative. But you talk about you can spot the Republican,
Mhm.
or I don't just want to say Republican, but a conservative. The conservative values,
Yes.
for some reason, it just leads to it's an understanding that nothing is given, everything is earned. They have a better appreciation for history, right? And we every time I come on the show, I always allude to I get it. I get history. Like I'm a history guy. I'm a history nerd. I love learning it. I understand the history of this country, but I hate how people try to use the history of this country as if it's something that has not been accounted for and
Yeah.
overcome and improved upon, or as if that one piece of history is the story of this country. Like, no, we're a story of overcomers. We're a story of people leaving one place, being oppressed, and going against regimes and kingdoms, and coming and starting something brand new and fresh. And of course, you're going to have missteps, but we've overcame it all to build the best constitution, the best Declaration of Independence, the best country that's still thriving and still growing to this day. And we have a say in it.
Yes, we
That's
do.
that's why. So that's why
Without
we
that
see.
perfectly written Constitution, we would have no
No.
standing in this country as people of color,
Hey, let me tell
Black.
you this real quick. In Bay City, excuse me, in Midland, July 3rd, they're raising, and I think this is the first one in the country ever. They're raising a Declaration of Independence. It was printed out 50 feet by 10 feet. They're raising it and they're giving anybody and everybody who wants to sign it a chance. It's the original printed out, and then you can go sign your name on it. And what it symbolizes is everybody's included. Look at what we've done over the last 250
Oh, I
years
like
to
that.
the point where
Yes.
these words ring true. Don't the divisive nature of people trying to go back and argue over semantics or over once what once was. Look at what is now.
Yes.
And that's the beautiful thing about it. And so the luxury of being taller than most, I guarantee I can get my signature up a little higher than everybody else if I can get
Yes.
closer to the original. But I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. And we should just embrace it, man. Listen, we're here. You're in America. Most of y'all ain't going nowhere.
And
Embrace
I'm
it here.
I'm so glad to hear that because I think I always thought that I was the only person that thought that way and I'm out of tune with everybody else. But I'm glad to hear you say that
No, no,
about the Constitution and about the value and about the strength of it and about its endurance and about it applies to all people. Without that Constitution, we, looking at you and me here, would have no standing here.
mhm,
And that's what protects us day after day after day. But if you listen to the Marxists and listen to the Democrat Marxists, I believe you
yeah.
call them, um, you will not have that for long. Our country is teetering on whether to remain a democracy or become a socialist republic.
I mean, show me where it works. Show me how we're going to have a functional society. This all inclusive, open border, non policed. You know, everybody gets the same amount of money, same amount of food rationed out, even though you know it's not sustainable. Show me how that's going to work, and really prove it. Right now, they're just rebelling against the system, and it's okay. Let them rebel because sometimes we need a wake up call. We need a wake up call in this country. So this is where we is, and we have opportunities to vote people that really care about this country and care about all. I'm not just running to serve Republicans. I'm running to serve all 700,000 plus people of this district.
Yes. So, what do you say to people who say that the Republicans are teaching uh, people to fear the ballot, going to the ballot, that um, they're teaching people
Like
to
that,
stay away
they're
from the ballot.
intimidated.
Yeah, intimidation, ballot
Uh,
intimidation is what I
I
want.
haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. If you want to intimidate somebody, it's not intimidating. Illegal immigrants when we're telling them you can't go to the ballot.
And also,
That's not intimidation.
and Republicans do not go to homes where they're not invited for 5% of the vote. And this is what they get out of urban districts in most
Yeah.
cases. And so they will never go and intimidate people that they don't know and don't invite them in. So when they say that there's voter suppression is the word that I was looking for. That's not true.
No, well, voter
What do you
suppression is.
say?
I say once again, who is saying these people in these minority communities can't get licenses? Like who can who? That's what a voter suppression. They say, oh, it's voter suppression because you don't want to vote if you don't have an ID, or you make it where they can't have access to getting to the polls, or these large swaths of vague comments. That's just people are just victims. They can't do for self. I come from one of the most resilient communities ever. Believe me, they want to vote. Think about the 1960s and everything they had to do to get over to go vote. They voted in high numbers.
Yes,
It's much better now, and it's less much opposition now to voting, if any opposition. That's not what's holding people back. That's just a narrative they want to run with. Once again, just like the Jim
I
Crow
agree.
2.0, it's all manipulation. If you notice, every time they talk about something that the conservatives or Republicans are doing, they always refer it back to the 50s and 60s. Every single time they talk, or they talk about slavery. So they're either talking about civil rights, Jim Crow era, or they're talking about slavery. They're using the same words, the same tactics. They bring up the KKK, they bring up voter intimidation, voter suppression. That's not the reality because you have mail-in ballots now, right? You have free transport to voting polls. There's way more voting polls accessible in each neighborhood. It's plenty, and you have a wide array of candidates. They just want to control the narrative so they can control your vote. That's the biggest thing. They're not really telling you the options and the issues that they want you to vote for. They just want you upset, feeling like somebody's trying to take something away because that's how they've always operated.
And when you stop and think about what Democrats have uh, forced down the throat of blacks for many, many years, is that they have been disenfranchised,
Mm,
that they consider that organization called the Southern Poverty Law Center.
mm,
Poverty.
mhm.
They have condemned every child that's born as black, as poor, underfoot, undereducated, undervalued, and the young people and the since Gen Zs, they don't like that. They want to have um, celebrate history, not like Juneteenth, but history like the Irish Seas celebration, where every March 17th, everybody in the world is an Irish
Oh, like St. Patrick's
right?
Day.
Yeah, St.
Yeah.
Patrick's Day.
Well, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think when it comes to all those groups, when it just comes to us as a people, man, this is my point. I don't even want to go down the rabbit hole of making it Republican Democrat. I've said plenty about the Democrats, so you know where I stand on that.
Yeah,
Let's look at it like this. Let's look at the growth we've had in this country.
yeah,
Let's look at the
I
positive.
agree with that.
So the positive is a lot of us, and especially my generation, our children are living a suburban life now.
Yes.
They're being spoiled to the point where a lot of conversations I have with my friends and network group is we're laughing at the things our kids get mad about because for us growing up, it wasn't even an option. It's like they're laughing at or they're getting mad at how many video games they have or how many video game systems they have or and it's like, man, who are these kids? Because we didn't have those options. And if we did, we were very grateful that we did have a video game. You know, they are spoiled to the point where now people are living the middle class lifestyle that maybe they weren't afforded. And that just shows the opportunity for growth and success in this country. So, how can you be mad? How can you say everything is oppressive and everything is trying to hold you back and you can't find jobs when your kids are living the life that you couldn't dream about back in the day when to the point where you might be jealous? I know people that are jealous of their kids because the kids have it so sweet and they didn't have it, or they have love from both parents and they didn't have it. We are a country of growth and we're doing it fine and we need to improve upon it. But this idea that we're being victimized, this idea that because of the color of your skin, you don't have the same voting options as anybody else, or your voting rights are being taken away just because they took away Democrat options, or it became a Republican district as if you don't have the same candidates. And the hypocrisy of it, they were running a white Democrat candidate and saying they were taking away black voting rights, even though you had a black Republican woman in the same race, if they were making it about race, in which they were. It's hypocrisy. And so this is what we should be championing. Everybody these days has an opportunity to get money. Everybody these days has an opportunity. Now, whether or not you want to do the work that's necessary to get there, that's on you. But this entitlement, this idea that you're supposed to be allowed to go to college and get $150,000 job, that's never been the truth or
No,
reality.
there's not truth for
That was
the,
always a lie.
yeah,
And
yeah,
now it's just being exposed. And I'm it pains me that so many of our children, so many of us fell in that hole where now we're trying to pay off debt and we can't afford a house.
In bringing our show to a conclusion, what would you say the biggest challenge for Black Americans are today? Name three of them.
Well, the same challenges as everybody else. The same challenges as
Okay,
everybody else.
but they feel you cannot be on the same page as everybody else if you're feeling victimized.
Well, just stop because pain hurt. I don't care if I punch a white dude, black dude, Hispanic dude in the face. Believe me, all of them gonna have a black eye, and
But
it's the same pain. So listen, for the black community, I don't know I could tell you this: economic development is going to be your best bet to get out of the current circumstance if you don't like where you are.
But you know, the reality is, and the president does a good job in trying to normalize everything and lay a flat everything out on a flat plane,
Mm,
so everybody gets the same chance.
mm.
Okay, called DEI, but it is difficult for kids if they don't have the will to compete. They got to compete just like they do in sports,
Mm,
football, baseball,
mm,
basketball, tennis, or whatever,
mm.
soccer. You have to compete in the classroom the very same way. You have the same
Yeah.
opportunities. And in order to compete with kids who are your peers,
Mm.
all kids are around this table are peers. But if you don't compete, you won't have the success that you would like to have.
That's why we need to invest once
Now,
again.
I was
Invest.
asking you about what are the biggest
Yeah.
challenges to
No,
help the people out there who are listening to you.
I'm going to answer
And
it.
okay,
I'm going to answer it. You have to get to the root of the problem. Everything you just said about far as kids competing in the classroom, just like they do on the athletic field. If we're relying on the kids to lead us, we've already lost.
I agree with that.
We must put the family back together. If you ask about the issues, what I see in the Black community is we led the nation in marriage rates in the 60s or in the 50s before the government stepped in. And now we're dead last. But we're number one in our cities where we live in crime. We have high illiteracy rates. We have high joblessness. So if you want to fix the issues, let's put our families back together. Let's get into the professions in which we don't need a degree. You can go work immediately and earn a living and then create your own business. I get approached every single day by people in the skilled trade professions. And just to be clear, there's hundreds of skilled professions. Drone operators are making 80,000 to 100,000 starting out right now. The military has a new rate in the Navy that's drone operators. That's not the name of the rate, but that's what all they do is fly drones with an Xbox controller. What I'm telling you is fix the issues that caused or fix the problems that caused these issues in the first place. There's no sexy fix. Put the family back together, put that at the center. It's hard to fight in this country when you're doing it alone. Have kids, educate them, teach them a work ethic. That's it. There's no policy. You cannot legislate this. This is a culture. We have to embrace
Where
them.
should that begin? With the government, with
No,
schools, or with the home?
the home, the home. And but here's the thing though. Here's the thing. The government took a part in destroying the family. So the government must take a part in incentivizing the family unit to come back, the nuclear family to come back. So that's for me to draw up and
How do
figure
you
out.
do that?
Well, I think there's ways. I think we've seen. If you look at when GM was bailed out, I personally feel part of that bailout should have been mandated that some of those jobs come directly to Flint, Michigan at a higher rate, or this district as a higher rate, because we started GM. We're the birthplace of it. And it helps us as a state. So if you're going to bail out that industry, well, you're going to quote unquote bail out this district and bring more jobs. And then with those jobs, we have to make sure that our workforce is ready to go in. We've done things for tax rebates when the first time home buyers. Well, if you're a two-person household, maybe we should give you tax rebates to encourage people to get married. Um, when it comes to daycare, if you're married, uh, we can look at things because we have our RX Kids program that gave all mothers, money, single mothers, married mothers, whoever, money for a child. There's plenty of ways we can figure out to incentivize the nuclear family and marriage if we put our mind to it. I don't have it off the top of my head, but I'm definitely working on it, trying to figure it out, because if we say putting the family back together, the family unit
How will you
versus all.
encourage your peers in Washington to follow such an ideal?
it pays off. It's nothing that'd be a bipartisan thing. Nobody can argue against uh, the statistics when it comes to marriage and when it comes to a two-parent household. Nobody can argue that. So it's I have to lead by example. You know.
Well, Amir, you have been everything that I, the audience, the President of the United States, who will probably watch this presentation.
Probably.
Yeah. And I thank you for it. You've had some good points. You've argued some good points. You destroyed some issues that have been around for a long time that were considered the way that we ought to operate our communities, our schools, our institutions. And that needs to change in order for us to become a better country. And I appreciate that coming from a man with an unorthodox name.
Yeah, man. The name.
I have to keep saying that
No, you
because
don't.
I want people to know who you are.
No, they see me. Listen.
And you should be proud of it if you are
Maybe I
who
am.
you are.
Yeah,
Who you
no,
say
no,
you
no.
are.
You know the story.
And we thank you, and I'm going to have you back again one of these days. And now, since you mentioned General Motors,
Yeah.
in conclusion, this is the, in my opinion, show in Flint, Michigan. The home of General Motors Corporation, was the world's largest corporation, introduced the American people to the middle class, resulting from the sit-down strike in 1937. The union boasted of wages parity, while General Motors introduced the middle class to its employees, including women, Black Americans, Hispanics, and people of color and nationalities. We are fortunate to have lived in Flint, Michigan, and a part of that era. This is Henry Hatter saying, until next time, rise to your potential. Become the person that you want to be, not the person you have to be.